Hi, this is Evelyn Olivares again. Welcome back to a very short video here today on universal fears, the 3 universal fears. Just a quick intro, just a little bit of a snippet of an intro to what we're going to be discussing at the event upcoming at Leadership Evolves. So you can recall now that in an earlier video, we actually talked about cause and effect. And cause and effect, just to clarify, cause is above the line and effect is below the line. So you can remember this slide from before. So what happens is when someone is below the line, they're actually in fear. Okay, it's a fear-based reaction to life. Now, you know that there are 2 primal emotions of life, and that is love and fear. Now, love we'll talk about a little bit later on, but every expression of emotion is either an expression of fear, or it's a cry for help, or it's an expression of love. And you know, it's true. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. And this is a really interesting thing to take on board. When someone does anger, or someone expresses frustration, it's a form of fear being expressed. And unconsciously, what that person is saying is, I'm screaming out for your help. I just don't know how to ask for it. So when someone is being angry with you or annoyed with you, or even if you're experiencing that yourself, that kind of emotion yourself, it's a cry for help of some description. And it's fear-based. It's a fear-based expression. And all of that is below the line at effect. So being at cause is above the line, and thinking, I'm taking 100% responsibility for what's going on in my life right now. And when you're above the line, you're at cause. So you're coming from a place of love, joy, happiness, enthusiasm, passion, excitement, and a sense of adventure. All of these are expressions of love, and that's above the line at cause. So what I want to cover with you now is part of the 3 universal fears. Look, at the end of the day, every human being, regardless of how uniquely they are or they express their fears, we're all actually afraid of the same things. We all actually have the 3 universal fears at some point, and often over and over again. Now, they're called universal fears because, of course, we all have them. And what's really fascinating here in the world of coaching leaders is I know that whenever I've unveiled these universal fears to clients of mine, there's such a sense of relief, that comes because when they discover that these fears aren't just something that belongs to them, that it's a fear that's experienced and expressed in everybody, then all of a sudden, we don't feel as alone. We don't feel like a freak. We don't feel like there's something wrong with us. And at some point in time, we have all felt that the perception of something is wrong with me. Something is wrong with us. Something is wrong with you. I don't recall ever meeting any human being that hasn't at some point in their life been going through that, felt that an aspect of that, or thought that there's something wrong with them. And the really good thing is that we can create a shift on this in a heartbeat. This is really easy. So here you'll get to learn and talk about the 3 universal fears, or part of the 3 universal fears. And these are fears we all have at some level. Everyone. Let's say you and I have met in the past, or will meet in the future. No matter how great or grand or hopeless they seem, whoever it is you meet, all of us on some level experience these fears from time to time. So in summary, the universal fear, and this is in no particular order, is I'm not good enough, or I'll be found out, or I don't belong here, or I'm not worthy of being loved, or something similar, some similar version of these. Let's take a closer look to the first universal fear, the fear you want to be aware of. And it's the fear of not being good enough. Another way of saying that is a fear of being found out. The fear of not being found out or not being good enough is one that at some level, and I don't know about you, but whenever I first discovered that this was a universal fear, a fear that everyone at some point in time has in their life, I felt such a relief, because suddenly I actually felt that I could still experience that fear of not being good enough and be totally functional. And that's because I knew that everyone will be experiencing an aspect of this anyway. So the fear of not being good enough, the fear of being found out, these are the fears that a lot of people hide in secret. Let's go with an example for illustration. I've worked, now in real estate for probably around 20 years or 2 decades. I've actually spent in that time, I spent 3 years selling real estate myself to learn more from the inside as a trainer. So you can imagine in all those years, I worked as a trainer in licensing and delivering their ongoing educational requirements or CPD training. And I even worked alongside some of these people as competitors for a time. And in the most recent years, I've coached the business owners and their staff in performance development. So I've kind of got a really good idea about the people and the industry as a whole. Now, one particular agent comes to mind right now, and for this example, I'd like to share with you. He was a young 30-ish at that time, and he had been working in real estate for about 10 years. And this young agent had been, and still is actually, very successful and quite an expert in his craft. One day, he came over to see me after I delivered some CPD training on their site, and he was expressing to me how he was amazed at how nervous and scared he gets, even still, on Saturdays when he has to stand up at the auction and deliver an auction. And remember, he's been doing this now for at least a decade. So what he said to me was this: Evelyn, it's really funny, but I still get really nervous when I'm preparing to start my auction every time. So I asked him this question: how long have you had this fear of being found out? Well, he looked at me as if I had 2 heads, like I was this magical creature that could read minds, right? A mystical mind reader. The expression on his face was gold. And he said, who are you to know that? And that's been a secret that he's been holding on to for a long, long time. And, he was clearly blown away by the comment, because this universal fear that he's been tapping into, that's so obvious to me, is his fear of not being good enough. Somebody might find out today at this auction, someone might find out, and this was his fear. There is nothing magical about it, guys. And yes, I guess to a degree, I sometimes mind read because of body language and things like that. But when you know this stuff, when you understand there are 3 universal fears, it all makes so much sense. It's just that everybody has an aspect of it. So if someone is actually experiencing this fear, this incredible nervousness, and each time he was going to do this thing with the gavel and the bars and the vendors, he felt this fear that this might be the day that they're going to find out. And maybe this was a particular auction. Maybe this is the day. Finally, something's going to happen, and someone's going to find out. This was the fear that he had. He had a fear of being found out. Now, we all have this in varying capacities. I certainly know when I started my own business, I had this going on big time. And the way I managed it was I just kept showing up. I just kept working. I just kept taking action. I kept doing the actions and kept doing everything I needed to do. And yes, and I continue to do so today. When you think about it, when you think about all you must do, there is some fear. Yeah, I get it. I understand it. But what I've found is the antidote to all these fears, the antidote to any expression of fear, guys, is change your mindset and take action. And if this is the only thing you take away from this session, that's been worth it just for that. That the antidote to all fear is change. Change the way you think and take action. And when a lot of people start to invest lots in their fear, what happens is it magnifies and it grows. And that's because there's inaction. So when you go out and do the thing, whatever the thing is for you, when you go out and do the thing, the fear disappears. It goes away. Now, I know I've coached many salespeople in the past, in different businesses, not just in real estate, people that I've trained and coached over many years. So whenever they go out to perform, it's scary. Sales is not an easy thing to do, not always. So for most of them, it's a scary thing. If you're in sales, you'll actually understand where I'm coming from. And you just don't know who you're going to speak to, do you? You don't know how they're going to react to you. Will they reject you, slam the door in your face, abuse you verbally? It can be scary. But here's the thing. In my years of coaching, I have elicited the winning strategies of those salespeople who are acing it. And in spite of adversity, they're the ones who are doing it. They're very special people. They know how to change mindset. They know how to just get in there and do it. There's one young guy comes to my mind right now. He's a young Gen Y agent that I want to tell you about. And his name is Chris Gilmore. He's from Queensland. He made his first $1 million in his third year in the business. And he did better than any other agent I know in his first and second year also. The thing is, he made his first $1 million in 2010. Now, you might remember there was a Financial Review story about the study of the economy. They quoted at that time 10,000 real estate agents left the industry. It's a fact that 2010 was the worst reported year for the industry in over a decade. Meanwhile, Chris was actually listing and making a sale every 26 hours in the worst ever economy in the real estate industry. And he was really just a young rookie at that time. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, for a very good reason. Chris was on top of his game. Now, he had been for 3 years. And in July 2010, I convened a real estate conference in North Sydney, along with Glenn Twiddle, and invited Chris to join us as a guest speaker. Now, he agreed. And on the day, he said to me, Evelyn, I'm so scared. Oh, my God. I just don't know if I've got anything to offer these people. Really, I don't. I'm really not sure. I feel sick in the stomach. Now, in his patch, he was the expert and was an extraordinary agent. Still is. He was confident and just kept smashing every past record and blasted new records onto the charts and continues to do so today. So when it came to speaking to these other agents at the conference, he was really afraid of what? Of being found out. Scared someone might find he wasn't good enough. Even with his track record. Interesting, isn't it? Now, of course, he did speak and he brought the house down. He went back to his patch and soared even further. Chris's passion is still real estate. He still works in the industry, even today, 2016. But he continues to share the stage with the most sought-after speakers across the globe. He shared the stage with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He shared the stage with Richard Branson and so many other amazing, amazing people. And again this year, he'll be sharing the stage with Dr. Eric Thomas once more. And guess what? At every event that he speaks at, guess what? Yep, you got it. He is scared. Now, scared that he will be found out again and again. And yet he continues to bring the house down every time in the past. He just does it. He's just an amazing young man. And it's kind of funny. It's in a quirky way. It's in a weird way. When I heard him say this to me, yet again, it validated for me all the fears that I had around different things. And to hear someone who performs at the highest level in his field and had been doing so consistently for some time, and yet he can still feel like this. So it happens to all of us, even the highest achievers. So the fears and the nerves is what they need to manage before they speak, before the auction, before they go and stand in front of their client. There is no difference. Even though they've done it countless times over and over all the years, and that's a universal fear of not being good enough. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao for now.